Um, I'm just hopping on because I'm gonna talk about Thor, my foster. He's a very good boy. Let me show him. He was just on the couch with me, but then I moved and he did not like that. So he got up and laid on the floor. And I have Ginsey over here. And I am comfortable, so I am going live from a somewhat strange angle. So, alright, I am gonna talk about Thor, and we also have Thor's future mother on with us. She is Teton Hounds. She didn't want to go live like on video, so she's gonna be here in the comments if anyone has any questions. So, okay, I got some questions about Thor, so I put them in notes on my iPad. So, let's start. Okay. So the first two questions sort of go along hand in hand. Aw, thanks, Pam, for buying a badge. That was Pam, Teton Hounds. That is Thor's forever home, where he will be going on Saturday. So, okay, so the first two questions are, is Thor being fostered through a rescue, and how did this even happen? Which are very good questions. So, no, Thor is not being fostered through a rescue. He is a private foster, so you could sort of say like I'm more dog sitting, because I knew where he was going before I brought him home, but it's more of a foster-like situation. Like, I've never met him. Even the person that his old owner's son is how I got him, and he didn't even know him that well. So it's like more similar to a foster than dog sitting, but it is private. It's not through a rescue or a shelter or anything. So how did this even happen? We'll give you a little more detail on that. How this happened was poor Thor has had like 3 or 4 homes in the last 2 years. He had his first owner. I believe that was his first owner from the rest of his life, from the beginning of his life, but I don't know for sure. So about 2 years ago, his first owner got cancer, and passed away. And then his second owner didn't have him for very long because it was not a good situation. He and another resident dog did not get along. I will not get into the details of that, but Thor is an angel. So, there you go. And that tells you what you need to know. And so he, so then he had a third owner, and third owner is, just died as well. So poor Thor has had 3 owners in the last 2 years, and 2 of them have died. So it's been a bit of a rough time for him. Fortunately, he's very solid, very resilient, good dog. So his owner, most recent owner, was very, was very active in the hound community on Facebook. There's a pretty active scent hound community on Facebook and Instagram, just the internet in general, because they're not as common of a breed or breeds. So people who love hounds kind of get really into them, as you may have noticed from me. So Thor's most recent owner was very active in the community, and when he died, he had a family friend, and his son kind of took Thor in, and but with the intent of finding him a new home, and they really wanted to find another hound person, preferably someone active in the community as well, so that they could still get updates and everything, and just so they kind of knew where he was going. So that's how Thor ended up needing a home, was that his owners died, and he was basically a private rescue, not through an organization, but through a Facebook group. And so his new forever mom, Teton Hounds, who's on this, in the comments here, she saw his post and she was like, I kind of want Thor. There's just something about him. Can't explain it. And I saw his post and I was like, I don't want this dog to go to the shelter. and he's kind of, because he was like from an owner's death, he was kind of at high risk of going to a shelter. The son really cared about him, but also had his own 6 hounds. So there was not a lot of room for Thor long term. So I was like, I'm not going to let this dog go to the shelter. And so Pam, Teton Hounds, she got the okay from her landlord to get Thor as her newest addition, and I said, I can't take a permanent resident, but I can definitely foster him. And because Pam and I are really good friends, I went the next day and picked him up. I met his owner in Vail and picked him up, and he's been staying with me until Saturday, and then on Saturday I will go, and Pam and I are going to meet up, and then he will be on his way to his forever home. So that's how that happened. If you have any more questions about how it even happened, definitely put them in the comments. All right. Do you know what his situation was before? Yeah, it was a good situation. He had the 2 owners who died were very, very good owners. The one in the middle was not super great for Thor. I think she's an okay dog owner. She was not a good dog owner for Thor. Which is how he came to be at his most recent owners, who died. So yeah, he was in a good situation. He was very, very loved. He's a very solid dog, like temperament wise. He's very confident. He's got some separation anxiety, but he's had a lot of upheaval in his life. So, especially in the last week and a half. So he doesn't come from a bad situation, which is good. I mean, I'm assuming he's backyard bred, but other than that, he's from a good situation. Just looking at the comments real quick. West of Words, hey Wes. Lady says hi. Wesley and Megan actually were my dog sitters in New York and also super good friends. And they just adopted their dog, Lady, so say hello to Lady. Pam, Teton Hounds, Thor's new mom, says Charlotte and I were frantically on our phones for about a day and a half trying to keep this boy out of the shelter and get everything in place. Yep, basically, we were like, we gotta, like I said, when I met up with his son, super nice guy, just like did not have room for Thor. And we were like, this dog can't go to the shelter. Like, he's a great dog, and obviously we both love hounds and love rescue, and we were like, let's keep this dog out of the shelter. We're both in a position right now where we can help, so let's help. Okay. So next question was, does he get along with Ginsburg? Yes, he does. I was a little nervous at first, and this goes along with the one after, which is, how did you introduce them? So does he get along well with Ginsburg, and how did I introduce them? So I picked up Thor on Thursday. I remember that because it was Thor's Day. And so I picked Thor up on Thursday, but I did it like after I was finished with my work for the day. So that meant I was picking him up in the evening. So I drove to Vail, met his owner halfway in Vail, picked him up, brought him home, and at that point it was like 9 o'clock at night or 9:30 by the time I got home. Have this strange dog. It's just one person, just me. And so basically I didn't have a good way to introduce them. What I would have done in an ideal situation, let me tell you that first, is I would have taken them to like a large fenced in area like a dog park, or put them on long lines and had a friend help me with Ginsburg while I brought Thor over, so that I was outdoors. There was a lot of room. The dogs felt like they could, leave and engage as they needed to. That's how I would have done it. How I had to do it because of the circumstances was, it was 9:30 at night, and I brought Thor in and I let him sniff the apartment for a couple minutes, and then I went in and let Ginsburg out of her crate, and there were no leashes because I didn't want short leashes indoors where the dogs felt like they couldn't escape. But they both had collars so that I could like pull them apart if anything did happen. Nothing happened. He was pretty nervous, but so he didn't like Ginsburg trying to play with him, which is what she does to everybody. So he was pretty nervous, and so I kind of pulled Ginsburg off, and she's good at like listening for that. And then we just went to bed, and he got me up 5 hours later at 4 a.m. But after that first initial, it took him about 24 hours to like decompress enough. And after that like initial decompression, he and Ginsburg get along great. I tethered them the first day. I took them to the park because he had woken me up at 4 a.m. and they ran around for over an hour. So they were both really tired, and then I tethered Thor so that he would like learn to settle in the house. And fortunately, he didn't need a lot of teaching to learn to settle. He just sort of figured it out. And Ginsburg is a great role model, and I also have a heating pad on top of the bed. So, I mean, of course he wanted to lay on that. So yeah, now they play at the park. They just played inside for the first time today. Sometimes dogs play differently outdoors versus indoors. Like Starsky would never play outdoors. Even it was really only when he was like an adolescent would Starsky play outdoors. But Ginsburg has always played no matter where. But Starsky would play inside. So it's always, play styles are weird. Today he played with Ginsburg indoors. So that was like kind of a bit of a breakthrough. So yeah, they get along really well. Ginsburg's not a huge snuggler. Thor doesn't seem to be a huge snuggler, but of course it's hard to tell after only a few days. So they haven't snuggled, but they're coexisting fantastically. He's going to fit in so well with his forever sisters because he has 2 doggy sisters at his new home. Okay. So, okay. Am I trying to find a forever home, or does he have one? He has one. I fostered him knowing he was already going to my friend Pam, because we were in the same Facebook group, and I said, I'm going to help keep this dog out of the shelter, and then I had decided I was good to foster him, and then she went to her landlord to figure out if she could adopt him, and then she went to her landlord to figure out if she could adopt him, and then she got the approval so that by the evening I picked him up, I knew he was going to Pam, who is Teton Hounds. If you want to follow her, she's in the comments. She just said that she almost prefers just coexisting to always wanting to snuggle and play. Agreed. One reason that I love hound dogs, and that I love that Starsky was such a good role model for Ginsburg, because I think she's got some houndy qualities, including preferring to just coexist with other dogs. She could kind of take them or leave them unless they're actively playing, like at the park or something. Okay, a couple other questions. Oh, someone asked me to share the 3-3-3 rule. So not quite a question, but definitely something good to talk about. If you aren't involved in rescue, or if you're newer to the dog world, you might not have heard of the 3-3-3 rule, but basically it is a rule of thumb, just general guidelines, differs for every dog, that with a new rescue, it takes about 3 days for them to initially decompress from all the stress, 3 weeks for them to start to settle in, and 3 months for them to like understand that you're their person. Looks like, oh, that's not someone. Okay. So Thor definitely, I can see that playing out with him, which is kind of cool. So the initial decompression was sooner than 3 days, I think. And by now is day 3, I think, or 3 or 4, and he is like completely decompressed, I would say, from the initial stress and the initial like shock of, oh my God, where the hell am I? So, and really the first day was kind of, after the first day, he was fairly settled in. But it does take a couple days for like that extra cortisol to leave their system. And then now he's starting to settle in really well. He's like figuring out the routine. He's showing some more comfort. He doesn't really like the bedroom because I had him crated the first couple nights. And now I'm sleeping on the couch because I don't want a strange dog on the bed, because beds can cause weird behavioral things, and resource guarding things. We're just not going to go there. Where was I going with this? He's starting to decompress nicely. He's starting to be more comfortable in the bedroom. He's getting more excited to eat. He didn't want to eat his dinner the first night because he was too freaked out, which is totally normal. And now he's like excited to eat. So it's kind of cool to see like the stages of that. It's been a long time since I've had a rescue dog in my house, a new rescue dog. And Ginsburg, when I got her, she was a puppy, so her brain was still forming and everything. It was not the same experience. So it's kind of been cool to see the 3-3-3 rule playing out, and I'm excited to see him be even more comfortable in his forever home. So yes, that's the 3-3-3 rule, and he does have a forever home. Did I know if he had vaccinations? Was I worried about introducing him to Ginsburg? This is an awesome question. So he is up to date on his vaccinations. His owner's son did have some of his vet records. His most recent vet record, where I could see like the list of his vaccinations. I was not worried about introducing him to Ginsburg. I probably shouldn't say this on live, but I'm not always like the most snappy with keeping my dog's vaccines up to date. So like Ginsburg needs to get a heartworm test. She's negative, but I just have to like double check before I can get her back on heartworm meds, because I was not great about those. The last year with Starsky's health and everything, things sort of went downhill in terms of consistency of heartworm meds. So basically, all that to say, no, I was not worried. He was vaccinated. My dogs are fully, Ginsburg is fully vaccinated. They don't usually, like Pam just said in the comments, they don't need yearly boosters. Some people do titers. So I'm not actually that worried about it. The only thing that would really be a risk would be if Ginsburg had kennel cough, which I know she doesn't, and if Ginsburg had heartworm, which again, I know she doesn't. She has no symptoms. She just needs to get back on the meds, or on the heartworm preventative. Okay. So there's a couple more questions, but I am going to answer this question in the comment first. What are Thor's deets? So he is, just to go over it quickly, I did talk about it in the beginning of the live, but I'm going to put the replay on YouTube if you want to watch the beginning again. But really quickly, he is a private rehome, rescue through a Facebook group. His mom, Pam, Teton Hounds, and she is Clementine and Aspen, and she and I were in this Facebook group when Thor's owner died, and he was like at high risk of going to a shelter just because he had nowhere to go. And so I took him in to foster until Pam could get to him, which it works out to a little over a week. So he'll be going to Pam on Saturday afternoon. And how old he is, we're not 100% sure. He could be anywhere from like 7 to 9. We're thinking closer to 7. So he's a senior, but he's like a young senior. He's got a ton of energy, very young at heart. So old, but not old. He is a plot hound, and he could be a plot hound mix. We're not really sure. Pam is planning on doing his embark though, so we will have those answers at some point in the near future. He's definitely, I would say, mostly plot. I suspect he's purebred, or like there might be a little other hound dog in there somewhere, but he's definitely got all the plot characteristics. He's actually the first plot I've spent significant amounts of time with. I used to live across the street from one years ago, and then I met Ike from Jonathan's Journal. I met him, but I only was able to spend a few hours with them that day. So I didn't like get an amazing sense of Ike's personality, although he was a sweetheart. And Thor actually reminds me a lot of what Ashley has shared with me about Ike. So how much does he weigh? That's a great question. I've not put him on a scale. I don't intend to put him on a scale because I'm not his forever home. It doesn't really matter to me. I didn't really look at his vet records. I knew that he was up to date because his owner's son showed him to me. He was like, oh, I have these vet records, and like, oh yeah, he's all up to date. So I'm not taking him to the vet. Pam will do that when she gets him. So I don't actually know how much he weighs. I would guess like 70 pounds. He's much thicker than Starsky and more like solid boned. And he's bigger physically than Ginsburg. Starsky was about 60 to 65. It kind of wavered. Ginsburg is about 60. So my guess is that Thor is 65 to 70 pounds. He's overweight. He's definitely overweight. He needs to lose weight. Because that's, especially as a senior, really important for them to lose, or to not be overweight. Especially as a senior on those old man joints. We do not want any extra weight on them, any extra pressure. And so I know Pam's going to be exercising and changing up his diet. His diet's not bad right now, but it's not great. And he's definitely been overfed. So yeah, he's on the heavier side, I would say. Okay. More about fostering in an apartment with lots of stupid pet rules. Did you just not ask? Bingo. Oops, I hope you're not from my landlord. I know you're not. Yeah, no, I didn't ask because I was only going to have him for a little while, like literally less than a week and a half. So I was like, if they ask, I'll just be like, oh, I'm just dog sitting him. And then by the time they would ever tell me to have him out, he would be already with Pam. So I was like, I'm just not going to worry about it. I also have a prescription for an emotional support animal, and I have a service dog, and Ginsburg is my service dog. And because Starsky died, I no longer have an emotional support animal, but I still do have that prescription. So I was just like, oh, I can just say like he's my new ESA if like the dog sitting was a problem. So yeah, I was just like, it's so short term, I'm just like not gonna worry about it. If it was longer term, I would tell them maybe. I don't know if I will foster or how much because of being in an apartment with stupid pet rules. So yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a good answer, unfortunately. I have a slimy under the table answer because that's who I am as a person. Fostering after a very recent loss. How does it feel? Heart-wrenching or nice to not be lonely? All of the above. So Starsky is my heart dog. I don't love that term. I usually call him my soul dog or a once-in-a-lifetime dog, but if you like the term heart dog, that's absolutely what he is. I don't even like saying the past tense because like he's still my heart dog. Just because he's not alive doesn't mean he's like not my heart dog, not a once-in-a-lifetime dog. So Starsky is an absolutely amazing dog. So losing him has been really difficult and like it feels very empty. Like my chest literally physically kind of feels empty and like it has like some weird pressure, like a psychosomatic response to the grief. But also like my whole apartment just feels empty. Like it just feels weird. He was such a huge presence. Not even like size, physical size. Like Starsky just commanded respect and just had such a personality that like he was such a huge presence, just always there. So losing him has been really tough, and it's been tough on Ginsburg. So Thor has been a nice distraction. It's nice to have a hound dog in the house again. It has brought up some feelings, like I was doing a decent job at like pushing the feelings down, which is not actually a good thing, but I was doing an okay job of that in the last like week and a half. And then I got Thor, who as things come up, I haven't been able to push them down. like I was able to, so it'll like hurt more when I start to think of something, and it'll make me miss Starsky like a little more acutely. That said, I've been missing him a lot anyway, so it's not hugely different, but it is so soon after losing Starsky. It hasn't even been a month, and I'm definitely not ready, and having Thor has showed me that I need to sit in those uncomfortable feelings longer before I can have like a longer term foster or rescue or adopt or buy another dog. I just need more time. So I'm really glad I fostered him, because it kept him out of the shelter, but it also allowed me to realize what I need in my next dog, and in terms of time. And it's also taken attention away from Ginsburg, and that has showed me that I want to spend a little more time like bonding with her individually before bringing in a foster or another permanent dog. She and I need some more time to like kind of get to know each other, because now, you know, without Starsky, that changes the dynamic and it changes the relationship. And so she and I need some time to not renegotiate, but like learn how our new relationship is without Starsky in the picture. So it's definitely been like a really good thing on the whole, but not easy for sure. And Thor is lovely, and I've loved having him, and I'm also happy to send him off, which a couple people have asked me, like, will you be able to like say goodbye to your foster? And obviously this is a slightly different case from a foster who didn't have a home yet, because I already knew he had a home going into it. But yeah, I'm not gonna have a problem, especially because he's going to one of my best friends, so I'll be able to see him. He'll still be in my life, but I don't have to take care of him. He's been like the perfect situation for me because it was such a short, defined time period. I'm not gonna have any issues saying goodbye to him, especially because it's like just to see you later. So, okay, how much do I know about his history? I went through that, but basically his owners, he's had three owners in the last 2 years, and 2 of them have died. And he couldn't stay with his owner's family because his owner's son already had 6 hounds and is in the process of building a house. And he was like, I can't have a 7th dog. And I was like, I understand that. That makes sense to me. How would I describe his personality? I would describe it as goofy. He's definitely a silly boy. Very like innocent, just like so sweet. He's sweet, he's goofy, kind of innocent, like wholesome. Wholesome, that's a good word, kind of encompasses all those things. Very wholesome personality. Like when we are walking, he'll like get a good sniff, and so he'll stop and sniff, and then I call him and he actually listens to his recall, which is impressive. But when I call him, he like bounds, like it looks like a baby deer, like leaping and bounding over. He loves to recall. It's the cutest thing. Like it's so sweet. Yeah, obviously his personality is still like coming out because he's not like fully settled in, right? The 333 rule that we talked about earlier. But he's definitely very sweet, very goofy and funny, and he's just really solid. He's very friendly. He's a frustrated greeter. He gets too excited to see other dogs. So Pam, you're gonna have some fun with that. But he's just a very typical hound dog, like silly, sweet, affectionate, a little aloof, wholesome. He's a good boy. Pam says he kind of sounds like a blend of Clementine and Aspen's personalities. Yes. So if any of you follow Pam, Teton Hounds, you will know that Clementine is like pretty stoic. She'll play, but she like never loses her head. She's like just a very like refined dog. And Aspen is a crackhead. So he is sort of in the middle of those. I would say, actually probably about right smack dab in the middle. So yeah, he's a very, very good boy. I would be tempted to keep him if he didn't already have a home. But him already having a home helped me realize I'm not ready, and helped me avoid making that impulsive decision of, like, keeping him. And I love him, but he's also, like, not the right dog for me. So I'm not gonna have a problem sending him to his forever home. Just looking at him, he's so wholesome right now. Let me just show you. He's a very good relaxer. Look at those two, just coexisting, just chilling. Ginsburg's very tired because we did a photo session. Thor stayed in the car. He was not invited to the photo session. Very rude of me, I know. This was a special photo session for me and Ginsburg as this new chapter of our lives starts. Me and Ginsburg, and I took a photo of Starsky and brought that for our photos. Anyway, that's why Ginsburg's all tired tonight. So, okay. And last question is, what has surprised you most about fostering? That's like an awesome question. What has surprised me most is how not attached I'm getting. Like, I love him, but I love him the way I love my friends' dogs. And he is my friend's dog, but she hasn't gotten him yet. She hasn't even met him in person yet, because I'm the foster in between. But he feels like one of my friend's dogs. I don't know that I'll feel this way every time I foster, if I foster again, but he doesn't feel like my dog, and I'm not tempted to, like, keep him, or, like, doesn't feel like I'm dog sitting, but it doesn't feel like he's my dog either. It's definitely, like, a new experience. So that kind of surprised me, especially, I think a lot of people, or at least a couple people I talked to, were like, you're gonna keep him. And I was like, no, I don't think I am, but I was, like, a little concerned about getting overly attached. And no, I'm not. So that surprised me about fostering. The other thing that surprised me is I'm good at it. Like, I didn't think about this ahead of time, but, like, I'm just gonna gas myself up, because you know what? Credit where credit is due. I have done some things to, like, get a sense of his personality. Like, I've been able to assess, like, okay, does he hate the crate and it's not going to be an option? Does he just need a little work with the crate and intolerance of the crate? Is he friendly? What's his prey drive like? What's his play style like? I've not put him into any, like, overtly stressful situations, but I have put him into, like, some smaller situations where I can, like, really make observations about him. And he already has a home, but that's helped me understand that he's going to the right home. Like, he's going to fit in perfectly with Pam's dogs. And I think if he was, like, an indefinite foster through a rescue that, like, didn't have a home yet, I think this would all help me to help a foster find the right home. So it kind of surprises me, like, I'm freaking good at this. Like, credit where credit is due, and you know what? I deserve some credit right now. I'm good at fostering. He's my second foster ever, but my first foster dog. So I did foster a kitten that I found on the side of the road once for a couple of weeks until I found him a home. And kind of same deal. I didn't ever really feel like he was my cat, but anyway, I'm good at this, and I am enjoying it. I don't know if I'll do it again because of the whole landlord thing, but I definitely would like to do it again, especially under the circumstances of, if I'm under different circumstances, like I have a house and a yard, that just makes things a little easier. Thank you, Pam. Pam says, I really am good at it, and she's so prepared thanks to me. Well, thank you. See, thanks to me, Pam knows that Thor really likes whipped cream, and one of Pam's other dogs is obsessed with whipped cream. Thor, I had a matcha frappuccino this morning. Thor got a pup cup. and then I finished my matcha frappuccino, and he found the container and finished whatever little dregs of it I didn't finish, because he loved it. So, all right, any last questions? Drop them in the comments while I show you Thor again, because he hopped up to snuggle. Look how cute he is. Okay, something I love about him is that hey buddy, you want to say hi? He curls up like the scent hound swirl, right? So he curls up on the couch, but he does it facing the pillows. Every hound I have ever met loves to do the scent hound swirl, loves their couch, but they're looking out. I don't know why he's looking in, but it's so cute. It's so cute. Okay, so I think that's all for right now. I am going to upload this. If you missed any of it, I'm going to upload it to YouTube so that you can watch the replay. And there is a vlog on YouTube now about picking him up and like more about the decision-making process to help him. And I think I'm also going to vlog dropping him off with Pam on Saturday because I think that would be fun. Pam, what do you think? Tell me real quick before I hang up. Let me show you Thor again while you answer. Hey, Thor! Thor! Hey, dude! Say hi! Say hi! He's so tired. I don't know why he's so tired. He didn't do anything today. Good boy. Ginsburg did. He didn't do anything today. Oh, Pam says we should go live for that. We will totally go live for that. Guys, Pam said it. We're locking it in. Assuming we have cell phone service, which we're meeting in Grand Junction, so we should have cell phone service. We will go live when we do the handoff with Thor. And I will also be vlogging it because I'm trying to do more of that in 2023. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining. And if you missed any of this, I will put the replay up on YouTube, hopefully by tomorrow. I don't know how long it takes to download on Instagram. So anyway, all right. Sleep well, everyone. Thanks for being awesome. And I will chat with y'all later.